Now, if you were able to investigate some other mystery and money was no object for this investigation and you could guarantee your safety and you could be pretty sure it wouldn't be a dead end, where do you think you would take an expedition to? Where might be the next mystery you would want to investigate that kind of sticks in your mind as a nagging thing you want to find an answer to?
Well, we've got quite a few active ones going on at the moment. I mean, these last few years since the Cathar prophecy fell due in 2010, well, no, 2020 it was. Have been pretty crazy down here. So yeah, one of the ones we got in, and I'm not going to give any geospecifics. What happened was a treasure hunter basically found that what seems to be an underwater city, thus far unknown to conventional archaeology, and dredged up some bits and pieces of it, and then spent a lot of time towing a sonar bar over the top to produce sonar scans of the of what appear to be streets and geometric structures on the sea floor. Then he got caught by local authorities, got into trouble, got scared, and gave up. And the sonar scans and the stuff dredged up from the site, which include two things that look like Baghdad batteries, like basically ancient electrical components. Yeah, eventually came here, and yeah, came before my eyes, and as a result of that, we were then able to pull satellite photos of the same section of ocean, and matched the geometric features that were visible in the satellite photographs to the treasure hunters' sonar scans. And it's pretty conclusive there's something down there. So there's that would be the answer if I had the money to go and poke something, being in a Lovecraftian frame of mind. Because if we were to assume that Lovecraft's onto anything at all and the old ones are coming back, then it makes sense that the city of Cthulhu or something would actually manifest.
It does make sense. Let me ask you more about your just general thoughts on the timeline of human history, because you talked about the Baghdad Battery, this idea of ancient electricity. There's a lot of different researchers now and different conspiratorial sub-communities dedicated to this idea that we did have a high society in the ancient past that was wiped out, and the order of the day works very hard to suppress that by carefully controlling the information through a series of academic accreditations to write official history and this sort of thing. Some people think that even ancient cathedrals, the spires atop of them, had a way of drawing down energy, that there was something more technological about it initially that obviously is broken now. Well, what do you think about some of that stuff? Are you a believer in a high technological society? Did the Egyptians have electricity, these sorts of things?
It's certainly possible. I mean, I think Arthur C. Clarke says that any sufficiently advanced technology, if it's not properly understood, would be perceived as magic. The sense that there was a magical technology, or that sorcerous and alchemical powers truly existed, and have simply been edited out of the data by 1,000 years of persecution that's forced all that material to become esoteric, to become occult and obscured, and to go underground. It's highly possible, and whether that connects to our modern notions of dark energy, or the idea that there's far more energy present in the world than our current science is capable of measuring or detecting. Yet at the same time, those forces do seem to exist, and it's highly likely.
And on that theme of the potential for the city of Cthulhu to reemerge, and this blending of fiction and reality, this idea that if something has enough energetic potency in our imagination that it can manifest in reality, how do you work that out? Your framework for the inner world and the outer world, the imaginal and fiction, and the idea that these things can bleed over in some instances through some strange mechanism.
Yeah, that's extremely eerie, but yeah, there seems to be almost no division between fact and fiction. It's weird how things that are real turn out to be fiction. Things that were fiction suddenly become real. It's very confounding the older I get, I mean, to some extent, I guess if reality is maintained by consensus, it means that if more than 50% of the people there believe something is true, then it becomes true. To what extent, reality is maintained by consensus and what we believe, impacts on a fictional idea, once it's believed to be true by most people, presumably would become real. Whether that would mean that Cthulhu would rise, or a unicorn would finally walk across the road and rend the ban, I don't know. But it's certainly eerie, and Lovecraft's material in particular shows a penchant for bleeding across into reality. I don't quite know how that happened, but I guess he received those things in dreams, and then they've spread like some kind of psychoactive virus all across the world, so that things like the Necronomicon and Cthulhu are kind of common currency, and everywhere from Africa to Russia to Japan, and it's just kind of, it's spread in the same way that the evolutionary scientist Richard Dawkins would call a religious meme, where
yeah. Man, just so interesting. There's a lot of people who say that when someone has an abduction experience or a sighting or something of high strangeness, that the presentation is something that comes from their imagination or from the collective unconscious. If there is a being made of plasma out there, some strange, foreign, intelligent life that has access to our collective imagination, it could draw all kinds of things out of it, even things that the individual doesn't know, which is like something that I've seen several times, that a person has an encounter with glowing grays and they're shown some religious symbol, or they're given some name in a foreign language. They have no idea what it means, some informational download. And then they go and they research that later, and they're like, yeah, this name they told me is actually some obscure Hindu god. I don't know why they told me that name, but I guess here in my simple life in Kansas, it means something. I don't know what they're trying to communicate there, but just the idea that imaginal things can become real, or imaginal things can show up in abduction experiences and high strangeness downloads, if they have enough potency, real or not. I mean, that seems to be evidence of such a thing.
Yeah, I guess ultra-dimensional interference in our world. I don't know why, and it's certainly jarring. I mean, a fully blown event of what you'd call high weirdness, high strangeness, be it a UFO encounter, or in my case, an apparition in a ruined castle, has the effect of jarring one's reality so hard that for most folk, their lives never recover. I mean, relationships break down when one plunges into the hell of insanity and bankruptcy. It can be a very jarring and disorientating experience.
Yeah, I wrote down when you say in the film, more than anything else now, all I want is to be able to return to that place. And it's suddenly difficult being locked in the 21st century, carrying within the memory of a twice lived piece of time and wondering whether or not I'll ever be able to find my way through that door again. I mean, that's powerful, man. It definitely seems to have a lasting effect.